Hi there. What is stimming? Why do we do it? And can we stop just being so embarrassing? My name's Nick, and I have a dual diagnosis of autism and ADHD, which together can make me. Have you ever heard of stimming? Do you know what it is or why we do it? Stimming is a description for a group of self-stimulating behaviours, which can be repetitive movements and they can even be sounds. Generally, autistic people use stimming to self-soothe or calm, express nervousness or frustration. Now, most humans stim to a point in some circumstances, but autistic people generally stim a lot more, and therefore their stimming can be more noticeable. According to Healthline, and I'll stick a link below in the description, a lot of neurotypical people stim too. Their stimming is perceived as quite normal. For example, nail biting, hair twirling, knuckle cracking, I can't demonstrate that one, and foot jiggling, whistling, and drumming the fingers on the desk. That's all stimming. Now, autistic people, we do that too. No one thinks any of these behaviours as odd or classifies them as stimming. Me personally, I'm a massive hair twirler, all popping out in different directions, a foot jiggler, a leg bouncer, and a pencil flipper, flapper, fiddler. I always have been. I have also always done the following, although I learned at an early age that not all were appropriate in public, so I tended to go to my room or somewhere else quiet to hide away so that I could do them, even though I didn't know at that stage exactly what I was doing. The first is rocking, either back and forth, which is something neurotypical people find quite concerning, or from side to side, which is somehow a little bit less threatening. I'm a side-to-side girl. I do this to relax, or as I'm relaxing. I tend to find myself every morning rocking from side to side in the shower. So I spend a bit too much time in the shower water-wise, because if I have the water at the right temperature and I rock, it brings me down and gets me in the right sort of frame of mind to be able to tackle the day ahead. Hand flapping. This I do when I'm nervous or stressed. And this, with my hands down by my sides and slightly behind me, when I'm in the shops or somewhere busy, because I really feel very, very stressed in a kind of busy environment, and I hate shops. Flicking and snapping fingers. I don't tend to do this, and no, I don't know how to snap my fingers, but I tend to do this sort of thing a lot. I move my hands around like this. And those kind of movements are again noticeable, and neurotypical people find that sort of thing a little odd. That's more of a concentration thing for me personally. Bouncing, jumping, or twirling. No, I don't do this. I get dizzy really easily. I get bouts of vertigo, so there's no spinning and twisting for me. But I do have this weird reverse turn that I have to do. If I get up and have to turn one way, then when I come back, I have to reverse in the same movement. If I don't, I feel as though I'm twisted inside out, and it can take a few attempts of fine-tuning to get myself back in exactly the right position. I have a cousin who is exactly the same. Pacing is another one. Now that one doesn't seem at all odd. A lot of people pace. I am, and I have always been, a big pacer. I need pace to structure my thoughts. A walking movement seems to straighten and clarify anything that's going on in my mind. It also helps me to script social situations in advance, and if I'm studying, I need to pace to come up with the words to, write papers and reports. At that time, I usually have a laptop plugged in and open on a surface nearby so that I can think. Oh, type. Pace, 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 stop, type, pace, pause, type. That's how I write reports and papers. Pace, type, and they're just little notes. And then once I've got a whole document full of little thoughts and notes, I can then structure them. But I need to pace it out and reread it and pace and retype. Walking on tippy toes. I don't do this now, but I did as a child, and I got reprimanded for being silly and told to walk properly and behave myself. So I learnt that was unacceptable. Pulling hair is another one. Now, I don't try and yank out my hair or anything, but yeah, I'm a great one for doing this sort of thing. I'm pulling it tight and releasing. Tight and release. It's a kind of massage. It's very relaxing just to have the tension and the release. So yeah, I do that a lot. That's why my hair's usually all over the place. Repeating words or phrases. Now this could be echolalia. I don't do it with echolalia. I do not repeat back what's said to me by other people, but I will repeat my own phrases as though I'm emphasizing trying to make a point, and I'm not. I get quite frustrated by the fact that I will repeat a certain phrase 2 or 3 times in a paragraph. I don't know why I do that. I've got to learn not to be cross with myself about that, but I will work through that one in time. Rubbing, picking and scratching at the skin is a type of stimming. I don't do that one. Staring at lights, moving objects such as ceiling fans. No, I don't do that, but apparently that's also stimming. Licking, rubbing or stroking particular types of objects. Oops. Yes, I do this, and I did not realise that this was a form of stimming until I found this article. I do this in nature. I go around and I stroke trees. I hug and stroke and sniff and I rub up against like trees. And in nurseries I'll touch the plants. They just always... I just like doing that with green stuff, So I've always done that. I didn't know it was stimming. Sniffing at people or objects. That's again another oops. I do this sometimes. It generally, again, is nature-based. Occasionally I want to sniff the odd person or two, but, I try to refrain from doing that. I had no idea that was stimming. Rearranging objects or lining them up. Now, I don't line them up as such, but I do like to have things in like colour and shape. So I'll have video games on my tablet, just kiddies ones, where I can just line things up and just arrange them, just move things around. I do that for relaxation. So yeah, that's also a form of stimming. There are other more serious and dangerous types of stimming. See in the movies, like people banging their heads on walls, or hitting themselves in their head, or banging, punching, biting, picking at sores until you're bleeding, scratching, swallowing dangerous items. That's an entirely different category of stimming, and that does need professional help. The person who does that does need, a little bit more advanced assistance. But if it's not the dangerous type of stimming, should you stop an autistic person from doing those things? No. It's important for us to stim, to calm, or to express when we are nervous or upset or afraid, because sometimes we don't have the words. Sometimes we can't communicate in a way that neurotypical people can understand. Things get too much for us in the big world out there. And this is how we react to it. Sometimes we can become completely mute. If I'm distressed, I cannot speak. I rock and I flap my hands. Sometimes I'll make little odd grunting noises. And I will do this until I calm down. Just enough so that I can write, if I can't speak, if I can write or type out what I need to say. If I don't stim in these situations, I can completely shut down and physically collapse. And that is very scary for the people around me. So if these behaviours describe your child or your loved one, then perhaps seeking help from a specialist to help them work out why they stim, what this means, what form of what language this is for them, and being able to translate that to you so that you can then communicate with them and help soothe them and help calm them would be a good thing to do. Learning their individual language and their stress triggers, and then how to help them, because everyone is different. We all have different triggers. We all require different forms of assistance. So seeking professional help to translate us, I think, would be a good idea. But don't get mad with us. Don't feel embarrassed by us if we do this in public. Chances are, look, we're struggling as it is, and the pressure of the outside world feeling that we are being weird is making things worse for us anyway, so we don't need you to get embarrassed. We're quite stressed and embarrassed ourselves. Thank you. Be well.